Ferdinand Magellan, Fernando de Magallanes, was a Portuguese explorer who organized the Spanish expedition to the East Indies from 1519 to 1522, resulting in the first circumnavigation of the Earth, completed by Juan Sebastián Elcano. Magellan had already reached the Malay archipelago in Southeast Asia on previous voyages, traveling east, from 1505 to 1511 to 1512. By visiting this area again, but now traveling west, Magellan achieved a nearly complete personal circumnavigation of the globe for the first time in history. Magellan commanded a fleet of 5 vessels, with a crew that consisted of about 270 men. The fleet left Spain on the 20th of September 1519, sailing west across the Atlantic Ocean towards South America. In December, they made landfall at Rio de Janeiro. From Brazil, they sailed south along the coast, searching for a way through or around the continent. After 3 months of searching, bad weather conditions forced the fleet to stop their journey to wait out the winter. The voyage continued and reached Argentine Patagonia, or Argentina. The fleet resumed their search for a passage to the Pacific in October 1520. 3 days later, they found a bay which eventually led them to a strait, now known as the Strait of Magellan, which allowed them passage to the Pacific. The fleet reached the Pacific by the end of November 1520. On the 6th of March 1521, the exhausted fleet made landfall on the island of Guam. On the 16th of March, the fleet reached the Philippines and befriended local leaders on the island of Limasaua. And on March 31, held the first Mass in the Philippines, planting a cross on the island's highest hill. Magellan and his crew reached the island of Zubu, now Cebu. He befriended Raja Humabon and gave the miraculous image of the Señor Santo Niño to Hara Humamay, who, out of joy, danced all around the village. Thus the birth of the Sinulog. Magellan converted the locals to Christianity. Most accepted the new religion readily, but the island of Mactan resisted. On April 27, 1521, in the island of Mactan, Magellan was killed in the infamous Battle of Mactan. Following his death, Magellan was initially succeeded by commanders Juan Serrano and Duarte Barbosa. The fleet left the Philippines and eventually reached the Spice Islands, Moluccas, in 1521 in Indonesia. Laden with spices, they attempted to sail for Spain in December, but found that only one of the remaining 2 ships, the Victoria, captained by Sebastián Elcano, was seaworthy. They continued the voyage through the Indian Ocean, reaching South Africa. The Victoria, captained by Juan Sebastián Elcano, finally returned to Spain by the 6th of September 1522, completing the circumnavigation. Of the 270 men who left with the expedition, only 18 or 19 survivors returned home.